Oh, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 457 of FloWrestling Radio Live. I'm your host, Christian Piles, and I'm back. Sorry I missed 2 Thursdays in a row. Shameful.
Shameful.
Was on the road. To my right, Stephen Kyle Brackey, and in Manitowoc County, Sporters, Milwaukee, Ben Askren, who just gave me the throat slash. What's up, Ben?
Oh, the Dassey family's going to come get you after all the nonsense you've been talking about Wisconsin.
I know. It'll be their first actual crime. What's going on?
You know what? I have I'm actually, I'm going to click on this Joey Silva match because I heard he had an epic meltdown. So you might have explained it on that one. But what I was really going to say is that I kind of don't like going on Tuesdays because I have all these thoughts from the weekend bottled up in my head, and I got to hold them till Tuesday, and I always want to get them out on Monday. It seems like such a long time to hold it, doesn't it?
It is. Monday would be better, but you know what? We'll deal with it. It's Tuesday, okay. And now the waiting's the hardest part, but you made it, Ben. So were there anything particular? I am fascinated by this Kolodzik out of red shirt, the Princeton Cornell duel.
Absolutely.
I mean, what a shakeup! And I feel like every year the D1 season gives you these unexpected things that happen that you couldn't have predicted, and then for them to pull him out of red shirt, and then for this duel, is really cool.
So they actually said it wasn't for this duel. They were actually going to pull him. So I talked to Chris Ayers yesterday. That interview will be up on Rudis today. I talked to him. They said they were going to pull him last week, actually, but he needed one more match to hit the 8-match minimum. So I believe they sent him to the Edinburgh Open, was what he said.
Mm-hmm.
So they sent him to Edinburgh Open. So he hit the minimum amount of matches for seeding criteria or whatever it was. The most outstanding thing I pulled away from the interview with Coach Ayers was they were 0-35 his first 2 years. And their first 3 years, he was 2-53. Can you imagine 2-53?
That is
Holy
rough.
crap! That is good God, that'll make you want to quit your life. And he kept going, and now they're like we were talking about with pulling Kolodzik out. Princeton has a legitimate chance at getting a trophy this year.
They do. It's really legitimate.
Really do.
Yes.
Very legitimate. Yes.
There's not a ton of room for error because they need Glory. Glory's got to ball out. They need Kolodzik to. Kolodzik can obviously win, right?
Yep.
So those are their big three.
And obviously, Quincy Monday's in there. They got a few other guys that'll probably score points at nationals. But I kind of brought this up to him. We talked about this last week of the top 7 at 149. It's like you could mix them up and throw them, and they could end up in any possible 7. Or do you just go ahead and put Matt Kolodzik number 1, or where do you put him on there?
No, he's not number. Spay put him at number 4. You
guys got to rank him.
Yeah, he's ranked now. 4.
Oh man, I looked yesterday. I didn't look today.
So O'Connor outplaced him last year at NCAAs.
Yeah.
It's not like Matt has a body of work this year of beating a lot of elite guys. He has his only ranked win is over Hunter Richard, I believe. So it's a scenario like this is tough to rank him anywhere, but I think 4 is fair.
He's 2-time All-American, correct?
3
times. So he's All-American. I mean, so obviously he's got, the best credentials of anyone in this field. Although, I guess Coach Ayers did bring up the fact they did not outplace Austin O'Connor at the NCAAs last year. But Austin O'Connor also has lost to Patrick Luger this year. So maybe that should be taken into account.
It is taken into account. I think that's why he's 4th, right? Despite missing most of the year. I think that's why he's where he is. And I think it's cooler that they pulled him for the Cornell duel. I think that's more exciting. And, one thing, I think we saw there were a lot of really big duels this weekend, but Princeton, Cornell, NC State, UNC were the 2 biggest ones.
Oh, my God. We actually talked. Did you see how packed that duel was? Me and Coach Ayers talked about that.
Wild, yes. It was insane.
Oh, my God.
I was
to the rafters all the way up.
Saturday morning, I was just watching every point of view video of all the celebration, the pandemonium when they won heavyweight, because it was that crazy. The crowd was that wild. Well, real credit to Coach Popolizio and staff for getting building. I mean, there was no fan base at NC State 8 years ago, right? I'm sure the stands were vacant, and now for him to have built something in a place where wrestling is not tradition rich is so impressive as well.
Yeah, I mean, and that whole triangle down there, they call it, with UNC and NC State being so good, that's going to be a really fun rivalry because I feel like, everyone's able to participate since they're really so close in there. And then obviously you have Campbell, which is only like a 30-minute drive, and Duke was starting to have some success, and they're really struggling this year. So yeah, that's a really kind of becoming a hotbed of wrestling down there.
Yeah, it's awesome. Very exciting to see, and hopefully it trickles down to the high school scene, and North Carolina becomes a more reputable high school wrestling state. But back to Princeton Cornell.
Yeah, because you didn't bring up the most important point.
The most important point is Ben Darmstadt, baby. Darmstadt over Brucky. Our man did it, Ben.
Where did he come from?
What do you mean? Where did he come from? Coming out of nowhere.
Well, I mean, he was struggling. He was struggling at 184, and then he kicked Patrick Boogie's butt. Like, it wasn't really all that competitive.
No, it was not competitive, and a Ferrari needs its fuel, right, to run. So they tried to make him some sort of a Prius down at 184. That's just not going to work. Coach Cole came to his senses. He's a great coach. He made the right decision, got him back up at 97, and it was a decision that made sense, and he's wrestling well. And I think with 197, it's kind of dealer's choice who could make the finals opposite of Colin Moore. And I don't know if Ben will...
Really? I don't feel that way. I feel like if we have optimized Ben Darmstadt, he's ways better than everybody else in the field.
Yeah, okay. I guess I agree with that.
I don't know if we're getting optimized Ben Darmstadt, but if we do, I feel like he's second best in this weight class for sure.
Okay, yeah, I agree with that. I do agree. I think they're
based on
Brecky's got some. He's got some rebuttals because Noah.
I mean, I don't know. It has nothing. No, it has nothing to do with Noah Adams. I just don't know how he's like far and away better than everybody else in this field, and how you know that.
Well, we know Kyle has a West Virginia shirt under that sweatshirt you're wearing right now. It is a nice looking sweatshirt.
Thank you. Plain white tee today. No West Virginia stuff.
Wow.
Okay. Well, relatable. I mean, here's what I'm saying. He just won Patrick Brookie. Noah Adams was not very good whatsoever last year. Jacob Warner's dropped a whole bunch. There's no one in this field where you're like, okay, that guy's really good. He's outstanding. And we've seen Ben Darmstadt be really outstanding. Obviously, he had the down NCAAs last year, I would say. But or was that 2 years ago now?
Well, 2 years ago, he was in the semis.
Sorry, semis. But then he semi-slided, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that
Jared
was.
Hott
that was
of West Virginia put him through the mat. It was very rude of Jared Hott to do that, and he didn't quite recover.
So I mean, when you look at the season he had that year, I mean, he was really outstanding, and it was against, in my opinion, a field that's tougher than the one there is this year. And so if we have optimized Ben Darmstadt, I really feel like he's making the finals against Colin Moore.
Yeah, that would be my prediction as well. Though Noah Adams is an interesting. I'm putting Noah Adams in. This may sound weird, and we'll get to this match, but kind of like a Mason Parris category where.
Really?
Well, let me finish it, and then maybe it'll make more sense, or maybe it doesn't. But it was pretty clear based on the early season results that Mason was a little different. Was a lot different, but to which degree, I wasn't quite sure. Right? And then he beats Stencil.
Mason Parris this year. She's Louise.
And now he beats Stencil, and I'm still like, okay, yeah, but the test is going to be a Cassioppi, and he destroys Cassioppi. I'm like, okay, he's there. And with Noah Adams, he's been really, really good all year long. I believe he's undefeated.
Yeah.
Right? But hasn't really faced the guy where I'm like, if he beats this guy, then I'm going to know. Right? And Noah Adams hasn't done that yet. Mason Parris has. And now I'm like, Mason Parris, this dude, he can go with
Mason Parris. Yes, that's what I'm saying, too. I mean, holy crap, that was a butt kicking. So I didn't watch it live. I watched it after the fact, and I kind of read through. I'm like, okay, it sounds like fairly dominant. But then, even Cassioppi's reversal, it's like you kind of thought he was going to get pinned there.
He hit him with the Vision Quest armbar reversal. I haven't seen that since Loudon Swain.
Yeah, I mean, Parris didn't take the post out on the other side of the bar and got reversed, but it was like, Parris had that bar tight, and for a minute you were like, damn, is he going to deck him right here? And then he gets rolled through and reversed. But then he goes back and decks him in the second period.
It was wild.
Wow.
It was so impressive to see him beat Parris like that. And you know that dump?
Seriously.
We talk about the dump all the time, and it's you're always like, yeah, but he's not going to hit that on this guy. He dumped Cassioppi.
No, hold on. But for me, the crazy part of that was, heavyweight, a lot of that dump is you have the momentum as you go from your feet, and boom, and you hit it right there's the momentum. He actually didn't get the arm until he was already on the mat, right? He gets his first shot stuffed, then he grabs the arm, and then he dumps, and you're like, he got all that power from all the way down there?
He has to be freakishly strong.
There's one time, I think it was after that takedown, they go out of bounds, and they got a fresh start in referee's position, and he literally just grabbed Cassioppi's wrist, and Cassioppi was like halfway up, and he literally just flung him down like with one arm, and Cassioppi just smacked his face off the mat.
Yeah, I think I remember that.
He's just a freak.
Yeah, it was a very physical, it's like a chop, but not chop.
This is like, that was the Mason Parris that we all thought we were gonna see after like what he did at Flow Nationals that first year. Like, this is what we thought he could be.
Yes.
And it didn't come to fruition for whatever reasons last year, but now he's lights out.
He's unreal. He was only a true freshman last year, and there were glimpses, but now he's so much more. I mean, a full year in that program at Michigan has obviously done wonders for him, and I think he's gotten bigger. Mm-hmm. I think he's stronger, and he's a better wrestler, and he is just a.
Yeah.
I never. Anyone that's listened to this show consistently knows I am just like, I pick Gable to win basically everything there is, and I don't really give a lot of consideration to his opponents. Like, even with Cassar, I was like, you know what? He's better than Cassar.
Hold on. Christian, prior to Saturday, were you giving any consideration to Cassioppi? Because I was starting to think...
None.
Maybe Cassioppi could... I mean, how about... I was thinking maybe Cassioppi can slow him down and make it a close match.
I do think it would be a decision against Gable, but
okay,
that's because Gable will win 10-5, 5-2 type of matches against guys he's way better than. He's not the... He bonuses plenty, but I feel like someone of Cassioppi's caliber in folk style, I don't think he would bonus him. But I did not think it would be a competitive match, and I felt the same about Mason Parris. Now I don't. I feel like, man, Mason clearly can go with Gable Stevenson.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Now I'm really excited to see the match. I wasn't all that. I was actually. If you would ask me prior to this weekend, I would have given Cassioppi a better shot of having a close match with Gable than I would have Mason Parris, because Mason Parris obviously has a higher attack rate, and he shoots to his knees more often, and Gable is so good at the go-behinds and the re-attack. So I would have actually said prior to this weekend, I think Cassioppi's going to keep it closer than Mason Parris is.
Well, I would have agreed with that too, and that's how I felt also. Like, I don't like Mason's offense against someone like Gable, but now I'm seeing him hit it against someone so sound like Cassioppi. I'm like, he's just different. Mason's just different. He just can do things. Some guys are just different and special, and in that department, he's just got something unique about him that I think could even give Gable trouble.
I think maybe what was most impressive was his defense, because Cassioppi, if he gets in on somebody, he finishes.
Yes.
And twice, and ended up leading to the pin, he countered him and scored, and his athleticism was on full display, and he's probably the only guy in the country that can match Gable with that.
And that's what I was going to say. If you think about what gave Gable issues with Cassar, it's athleticism. A guy that could match him speed for speed. Now, I don't think Parris is probably as athletic as Gable or Cassar even, but he's pretty dang athletic. And that spin around defense that looked like a lightweight hitting that. And Cassioppi, I mean, I don't know if anyone's ever hit that move on him.
Yeah, I mean, that's another thing to consider. Is Parris scored 3 different ways. He scores the dump. He scores the, we call it the Hamlin spin behind that Bajrang is so good at. Mm-hmm. And then he also scored that. I would actually say that's a junk move. I don't even know what the damn name is. What is the name for that? Where he hit the wizard and then he picked the far ankle. And that was, what he got the takedown on. What would you guys call that?
I don't know, like a defensive
like a
ankle pick or something. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
You used to do that craziness.
I didn't do that move.
You didn't do that?
I would have said that. No. I mean, maybe against someone who wasn't very good, but Anthony Cassioppi was pretty good, so I probably wouldn't have tried it against him.
Yeah.
Tariq Wilson did it to Zach Sherman too. Friday.
Really?
Night.
This weekend? Oh wow.
Wow.
Tariq looked awesome, by the way.
Yeah, is Tariq coming back? Is the prophecy going to be fulfilled? Tariq Wilson, number one?
He's got to have at least a few good matches before we put the prophecy.
He hasn't lost since the Southern Scuffle.
Really?
Yeah.
But who's he wrestled?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Details, Ben. Okay, so we're all over the place, but that's fine. I don't even know why I say that because we always will be. Because
hey, I got a complaint for you, Christian.
Oh, good.
Big Ten Network, they didn't even put up Joey Silva, Paul Glenn.
No, I haven't got to watch that yet either. It's on my DVR. Traveling stinks because you miss a lot of wrestling.
He almost blew it.
Bracky, give us the blow-by-blow. Listen, bottom line, he got his hand raised.
He did.
Against the Iowa Hawkeye starter at 133 pounds.
The Hawkeye starter that night? Or
that's who started.
that night.
Yeah.
That night.
He looked good in the first couple periods. He was obviously better than Paul Glenn, faster. I think he countered him a few times. He's up like 5-2 and had riding time late in the third. And then Glenn gets a takedown to make it, I think, 5-4. And then kicks him. Or no, that might have tied it. And then he kicked him. So he's still up 2.
Yeah.
But then Glenn got in again and almost finished right on the edge to send it to overtime. It was really close. They went out of bounds, but he prevailed.
Glenn doesn't want to see Silva in those deep waters of sudden victory.
Christian, let me ask you this: will Joey Silva show up against Seth Gross this week? Because he always seems to show up against lesser opponents. When there's a good guy, he just says, I'm not going to make this one.
I'm sorry, who didn't show up for the Iowa duel? What are you talking about?
Joey Silva showed up because he knew DeSanto wasn't going to show up.
Yeah, I know. That's not what happened, but I get what you're saying. I don't know. I don't know.
So Joey Silva has showed up 4 times now this year. The highest rank being number 39, Garrett Pepple.
Who's ranking 39?
39? Yeah, they ranked down. Brent Jones ranked 139. They literally rank every Division I person.
All right, I love it.
You know that, right?
Yeah, I do.
Well, your defense should have been when he beat Garrett Pepple. We had Garrett Pepple ranked 25th.
Yeah, he started Pepple on the downslide.
Maybe Flow's not as good as automated rankings.
No, we are. Trust me. Now, one thing, Bracky and I were talking about that this morning. The selective ducking, where like you have a weekend slate and you'll wrestle the one guy, but then if you're supposed to hit someone higher ranked, you don't wrestle. That's sort of annoying. Like,
do we want to
name
put names on it?
We can put names.
Yeah, let's put names on it. Put names on it.
You know, I wanted to see Yaya Thomas wrestle Sammy Sasso, and he didn't. He didn't wrestle. He wrestled the Michigan State guy.
What's Yaya doing?
I don't know.
Well, then the other one, and I don't know what the circumstances are with this, but Tanner Sloan didn't wrestle Noah Adams Friday night, but then wrestled Sunday.
Yeah.
Jeez Louise.
So I don't know.
So don't just come at Joey Silva. He made the walk. He made the walk. I hope he's back. I feel like, do we need to put a bow on this Princeton Cornell thing?
Yeah, let's go back there because there's still stuff we should probably talk about.
Yeah. So Cornell has held this title for how long?
17 years.
Okay.
92 straight dual meet wins over Ivy League opponents.
That's unbelievable. So unbelievable run for Cornell and Coach Cole. And I think they knew they still could have, if Princeton doesn't pull out Kolodzik, they would have maintained it for at least this year. Or they could have.
Well, right? it would have been 16-16. Who wins tiebreakers?
We don't know what it would have been 16-16.
Well, it's 1913. I guess D'Angelo got hurt, so he wasn't available.
Right. No, Richard probably wins that match by decision. Or maybe, I don't know who their backup is if D'Angelo's out and how Richard would have fared against him. Regardless, they get it done. Big win. Stefanik seals it against Lowe with that crazy. Did you watch that exchange, Ben?
No, I did not watch that match.
It is, well, I'll send you the video, but it's a really weird way he ends up with a cradle. But he ends up with it and takes him over. So, pretty fun little back and forth between Coach Cole and Coach Ayers. So, Mike Novogratz, of course, huge Princeton supporter, sends a congratulatory.
What a Princeton homer!
Well, yeah, of course he's a homer. He's an alum. So Mike sends a tweet of congratulations, and then Coach Cole says, "Mike, congrats to Princeton wrestlers and their coaching staff, but don't get too comfortable with the trophy as it's coming back to Ithaca next year." And then Coach Ayers replies to that, "Rob, congrats on your run, but it's over. You once told me it was unfortunate I chose to coach at Princeton because, quote, we just can't win an Ivy or EIWA title without the support you get at Cornell, unquote. We won today and we'll win more. We have a trick or two up our sleeve."
Boom! I love some trash talk.
I love it.
I love it.
Princeton, in general, they don't mind mixing it up a little bit, and I really like it. I like it. It's good personality. Yeah. But Coach Cole's right. They're gonna be nasty next year.
You're just gonna throw Coach Ayers under the bus like that? Like,
under the bus?
You have no chance. You have no chance next year.
Prove me wrong. Cornell's gonna be fire next year. They're not beating Cornell next year. Write it down.
I'm not saying.
Write it down, Ben. You got a pen?
That is bulletin board. Coach Ayers is gonna write this down. That's
I know.
Board
Joe Dubuque's gonna scream at me on Twitter. I already know
this is bulletin board material.
Write
Christian
it down.
Pyle says it can't be done. Right there on the bulletin board.
Deep in the heart of Texas, February 11th. Cornell is beating Princeton next year. I'm sorry. But it doesn't matter. The streak's over.
So much bulletin board material.
That's great. That's great.
Okay. Before Travis Bell cries some more on Facebook, he wants me to mention that Trent Hilger didn't wrestle Friday and then did Sunday as well.
Okay. Yeah. Yes.
I
don't have them all in my mind.
I know. Well, according to Travis, we didn't do it because we love Bono.
No.
That's why we didn't say anything.
There's obviously some injury issues with Hilger, and if the duel was in the balance Friday night, he would have wrestled. And it was obviously wasn't at that point. And Sunday it was, and they thought he could possibly win the match, and so he wrestled. I mean, but another one, Tristan Moran wrestles the hard match on Friday night with some injury issues because they thought they had a chance of winning. And then Sunday, obviously, we didn't see him in that match.
Yeah, it's like that sometimes.
Yeah, it's like that sometimes.
Okay, so congrats to Princeton. That's amazing. Can't wait to watch EIWA's
live on FloWrestling.
And so, really, the team race there looks like Princeton, Cornell, Lehigh, which is not anything.
Oh, hey! I just remembered one more thing that we got to bring up.
Bring it up.
And it has to do with coaches trash talking. How about Rob Cole trash talking Tom Brands?
Well, was he trash talking? Yeah, I saw it.
I sure thought so. I thought it was like, hey, you won't put us on the schedule, so I'm going to trash talk you on Twitter to try to get you to put us on the schedule.
Coach Schwab has kind of done a little bit of that with Coach Brands. They've tried to get Iowa on the schedule for a while. Hasn't happened.
Can we find the exact tweet? Hold on. Let me find.
Yeah, I got it right here. Tom Brands. Tom, congratulations on the season. A lot of congratulations being given out from Coach Cole.
That's like once you say no offense, you can't offend anybody, Christian.
Right. Congratulations on the season so far. Looking forward to having you on the Cornell schedule for the next couple of years. But I don't think there's any way that duel.
Come on, dude, put it on the schedule. It would be awesome.
That would be an epic duel. Cornell versus Iowa. We'll have to do a virtual whiteboard war at some time because I don't think we'll get to do the real deal. But that would be.
Why can't they put that on the schedule? I mean, look at some of the jabronis Iowa wrestled this year. Throw that sucker on the schedule.
Well, Ben, they wrestle in the Big Ten.
They
I understand.
You say that, but Iowa has the most ranked wins out of anybody this year.
Yeah, dude.
Okay, they wrestled Tennessee, Chattanooga, Iowa State.
Listen, actually good. Now hold up now. Every single team, there isn't a Division I team that doesn't wrestle the.
I'm not saying that. I didn't say that. That's loser think. You're comparing. I'm just saying they could fit Cornell on the schedule if they really wanted to. That's all I'm saying right here.
Well, obviously, Ben. Everyone knows that. That's not a. We know that they are legally allowed to wrestle Cornell. That was never in dispute. But the idea that they should add more rigor is maybe not wise.
Well, the other crazy thing about Iowa's schedule, in my opinion, and listen, obviously I can't argue that they're doing. They're ranked number 1, but their schedule is so light, meaning they don't have a whole bunch of matches. They only have. I'll just count it right now. I went to their schedule. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 duels in one tournament. I mean, their guys are going to get somewhere between 15 and 19 matches prior to Big Tens. That is like really, really a very low amount of matches. It's almost you're just hitting the threshold. So the thought that they couldn't add a match or two to their schedule somewhere is kind of crazy.
No, they could do it. No doubt about it. I mean, I'd love to see it, but it's easy for me to sign up teams for tough matches. It's another for the coaches to think it's the best thing for their program. But hey, yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it.
They'll wrestle Cornell College. Why not Cornell University?
Live on Flow.
Yeah, baby. Now we're really talking. Okay. Let's go. Where do we want to go next? There's a lot that happened. I think we should talk about the match. I'll say, is it the match of the year? RBY Gross was a fantastic match, man. It was
match of the year. Wow, I was there and I didn't have that feeling that it was match of the year, but
it's
a
candidate.
Match for sure.
It's a candidate, I would say. I thought it was really, really good. And I feel like a funny thing's happening.
What are our other candidates for match of the year? 'Cause I was there. I felt like, hey, this is a really good match, but I did not feel as though it was match of the year candidate. What's our other candidates for match of the year?
I don't know. That one stuck out to me. Maybe we can come up with a better one. But hey, I want to say something. There's a funny thing happening with Gross where I'm watching him win matches and I'm just saying, well, he won't be able to do that the next time. He hits a lateral drop from bottom against Sebastian Rivera. I'm like, well, that's not replicable. And then he beats DeSanto, and then he beats RBY. He hits a banana split, a spladle on him. I'm like, okay, well, he's not going to be able to do that again. RBY, at the end, he figured out he got a finish. He got a takedown. It was a pretty close match.
In the second period.
In the second.
No takedowns in the third.
Yeah, correct. And I'm like, am I falling in a trap here? I mean, Gross has been my pick to win, right? But I'm seeing these matches. I'm like, this isn't replicable. He's not going to be able to do this again. Or is it he just had that winning quality and he's just going to be able to find those weird ways to win matches when that's what he needs to do to win? So I don't know if I'm falling in a trap or I should just say, you know what, Gross wins. He wins matches, and that's all you really need to worry about with him. But I watched that match with Roman. I mean, and listen, I said a week ago, you and I went back and forth on this. Roman Bravo Young can win NCAAs this year, and I feel like that match displayed a lot of the reasons why I think that. He's a really good scrambler. He can get the legs consistently. He rode really well against Seth Gross and did not give up a riding time point, I don't believe, against Seth, which is pretty rare, which that point used to be automatic for Seth. So
yeah, one thing. Seth must not be working, and I'm not there very often. Seth must not be working a lot of top because he's not doing nearly the amount of riding that he was a couple years back. Even in this match, obviously he got the takedown and the near fall right away, and then he gave up the reversal out of the near fall thing, and then Roman Bravo Young also chose neutral, so he didn't really even get a chance on top that much in this match.
Well, he had a chance. He got reversed. Well,
but it was out of the spladle, right? I mean,
when he had him on his back.
Yeah.
So that's not, I don't know if that's really fair.
Also, I thought it was weird he didn't get a 4 count there.
So apparently the rule is.
I thought that was a 4. Yeah, I mean they protested. I thought the ref swiped 4 times, but whatever.
I did too. But then I heard the rule is, if your blades are on his chest, they stop counting, and so
so you obviously can't get near fall through a person, right? So again, if your shoulders are on top of them, you can't get near fall. But I still thought it was.
But his word, that's when I watched the match. That's where, not the entire time, but for a portion of the time, it was only he was up a little high. So I thought, man, I think this is I think there's 4 guys that can probably win this weight class. 5 if you throw in Silva, and
boo.
But I was impressed with Roman. I was impressed with Seth Gross, but I'm curious for your thoughts.
You guys said You guys said Sebastian Rivera's going to be back this weekend, and he was not. In fact,
I did not say that.
We said maybe.
Oh, I thought you said he was.
No. We said possibly.
No. Possibly. Okay. So, yeah, I mean, I thought it was a competitive match. I would have liked to see Seth get a third period takedown. I thought that would have been good for him. I mean, I was also kind of frustrated by, and I know you have it in the notes, that the second period ride that RBY put on, he gamed the rules, right? But it's also so stupid because the referee stalling is stalling. I know he's like his hands are on the legs or whatever crap he's doing there, but it's like, okay, but you're still sitting there and you're not doing anything, so it's still stalling, and the ref should call it as such.
So the scenario that Ben is describing, Roman, I love it because anytime you make a rule, they figure out a way to gimmick it and game it, and Roman did here. So, if you drop down the leg when you're on top, they begin a 5 count. Roman scoops the ankle with his leg, right? And then has his head in perfect head position on a single, and he just has his arms down. They're not around his leg at all. So the rule is your arms have to drop down below and be wrapped around the leg or whatever, and he doesn't do that. And so they don't count, right? And he's able to basically maintain that position and accumulate a decent amount of riding time within the rules. But to quote Jay Jaggers, remember, there's regular stalling. You can call regular stalling. You're not working to turn. You're not working to score points. So while you are absolved of the 5 count drop down rule, you still, as a wrestler, have to try to score points. So I love the gimmick. I think it's really smart. But on the other hand, refs, don't forget, you can call regular stalling. I don't know if it was merited there, but at some point, a stalemate or a stall when he's not working up should have been called.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty ridiculous. So he did get called. So RBY does get called for stalling at the end of the second period, but obviously it was only a warning. And by that point, he had the ride time locked up. So then when it's 6-4 and he's got the ride time, he smartly, in my opinion, chooses neutral because he doesn't give Seth Gross that chance on top. And then obviously he knows if he gets a takedown, he's actually winning 7-6 because he has the ride time.
Yeah, I thought it was smart. Couple questions I have for you, Ben. Roman gets on a double leg right away, and sets Seth on his hip with the double, and he doesn't get the finish. He doesn't actually get that close beyond setting him on his hip.
I thought Seth blew this scramble because I thought Seth actually comes up and has kind of the body cradle, and I thought he could have got the takedown off that, but instead goes for the cradle, and then RBY popped out, and there was no takedown at all.
So what I didn't understand that Roman did was he sets him on his butt in a traditional, like just right on his side in the double leg, and then he pulls out his bottom arm, right? And I feel like at that point in time, there was no way Roman was going to score. Whereas if he stayed just dropped on the double, he
knows if he doesn't pull out his bottom arm, he's going to get rolled through there, and that's going to be not so good for him.
Okay.
Yeah, because Seth Gross got that arm in the knee crease on the cradle. He's over the top, so he's got that kind of that body cradle that he likes to go to. If Roman leaves that bottom arm in, he's got no post going that way now, and Seth loves to roll people through, so that's probably gonna happen. So pulling the post out is a good chance, but then what he's got to do is he's got to stop Seth from scooting. But Seth's so freaking good at scooting that he was able to scoot out and then put himself in a good position. And I thought Seth should use that body cradle to try to drive Roman into the mat to get the takedown there. Instead, he tries to go to the cradle and he pops out.
I'm very glad I asked. A little lesson there.
Okay.
Also, another thing I'm noticing about Seth that I'm curious, I feel like he ends up like on his knees, like kind of turtled up in short offense underneath the guy when guys are trying to run behind. And I don't think he gave up a takedown from this.
That's his jam.
I know, he loves it. But I think it's every time guys like get 98% to running around behind, and I'm wondering, do you think that's going to bite him at some point?
No, that's a setup. Then he does this. We call it the sweet. I don't know what you guys call it, but he hit it at the NYC a couple times because he hits it in freestyle or folk style, and he goes wrist, leg, and boom, pops over them. I don't know what you guys call that move.
I think in West Virginia they call it the Chancellor.
Yep. Everything's a chancellor.
Okay. Hey, it was a really good match. I thought Roman, he had a standing single early in the match, and Seth did that crazy thing where he just pulls off the 2-on-1, throws the near leg in, and Roman made a really nice adjustment where he doubled off from the single leg standing. So you like the adjustments. If you're a Penn State fan, I think you'd say, okay, he lost. Roman gave what did you think about Roman giving this thing right after the match to Seth? He gave
I don't mind a little trash talk, but I don't think it really affects Seth that much. And if I was Seth, I would have, I would have came back with a little something there because, it's like when Brooks said, I'll pin you or something, and Zahid says, bro, it's 6-0. Where was your energy during the match? That's what I would have came back with.
Yeah, the scoreboard is always a fun one to point at in those scenarios, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay, any further thoughts on Roman? Are you stuck up? Or you feel the same about him?
I feel about the same. I think he's got great skills, but hasn't been able to get over that hump against Seth or the bet. Obviously we say DeSanto, he did get over the hump last week. So I guess I'm putting my foot in my mouth here. So what are the seeds going to be for Big Tens? Because Rivera hasn't wrestled anyone. So how low does Rivera go?
He needs to be the 4 or the 5. I really believe that.
So you're going Seth, RBY, DeSanto, Sebastian, and then who? Phil Piotrowski.
I mean, where's Alvarez in this? Now Alvarez got
just got
Piotrowski. Yeah.
So he's 6 probably.
I think Sebastian and Piotrowski are the 4-5 in some combination. There's this scenario where Sebastian just gets thrown in there crazy.
He needs to wrestle this weekend.
Yeah.
Yes.
Otherwise, he's going to get like the 8 and wrestle gross in round 1.
They wrestle at Rutgers, so he'd be returning to his home state to take on Sammy Alvarez.
I'd love for him to be the 7 so he gets RBY second round. That'd be really nice.
That would be wild. I don't know that he will, but yeah. We'll see. He needs to come back. He needs to wrestle. It's jacking up the seeds. Sebastian, you're jacking up the seeds, man.
So he didn't wrestle in the duel against Piotrowski, but he has this stupid injury default loss to Piotrowski. He was winning in the 3rd period and couldn't finish. Is that going to keep him behind Piotrowski?
It should. It probably should.
Yeah.
He didn't duel him, right? And they were on the schedule. And he technically lost to him in that match at Midlands, even though he was winning.
That keeps him behind Piotrowski for sure, I think.
So now he's 5 at best. So now we could be looking at he's either a 5 or a 6 now. You know, honestly, if he doesn't wrestle against Alvarez, and Alvarez beats whoever they put out there, then where are we, right? Or if Alvarez beats him straight up, then he's at the 6, which means he's hitting the 3, and we think the 3 will be DeSanto, so it'd be Seabass, DeSanto, corner.
Oh baby,
it's almost a good thing, but
almost
it's kind of bad. So that'll be we'll follow along. We don't know what they're doing. We don't know when he'll be back.
Let me see. What is I'm pulling up what Big Ten wins does he have this year? So he has a loss to Seth Gross,
I think,
and a loss to he's 0-2 in the Big Ten.
I thought Nomad said he had one.
No, all of his wins are non-Big Ten wins.
He's right.
Okay, he's 0 for Big Ten so far.
Oh,
so that's why he needs one.
Yeah, he needs to get that one. Hey, quietly, Jared Verclaren kind of coming along. He beats Cole Martin. He gives Brayton Lee a really tough match.
I wish they would have saved the block though, because that was did you see the scramble?
No.
It was a very sketched. Okay, so he tries. I don't know if it was a leg pass or something, but he's almost in on a takedown. Martin tries some type of leg pass or something, and then they go, and he comes straight up to an underhook, and he stands up, and they separate, right? And in that scramble, he had called it 2 points. Well, it was really very sketchy if he ever had control of the situation. I mean, I'm not like, this was a terrible call. It was just a call where I think if it went the other way, no one's all that upset about it either.
Got it.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it makes sense.
So, I'm not like, oh my God, this is the worst call ever. But I'm like, I'm not so sure that was a takedown. And that was one where they wasted the brick on the Spoito call in the Seth Gross match. and I'm sure they would have really, really, really liked to have that brick back for that one.
Yes. So, and I'm referring to the Brayton Lee match for McLaren.
Yes,
he was right there to win that match. Couldn't close it out late. I mean, Brayton chose neutral down 3-0 going into the third and managed a way to come back. But I got to say this. Watching Roman and then watching Brayton Lee, they've got to change this. They got to make a rule when Brayton reaches down, grabs a foot, and he just pulls the foot out again. I just watch it. It makes me uncomfortable. Feel like guys are going to get hurt. He does
Christian,
it. What?
I think you're overestimating. Like, I saw it happen like 12 times in the Wisconsin-Penn State match. It's like, it's just part of wrestling. It's like,
right.
it reminds me, after the DeSanto, I'm like, shit, is everyone going to hurt their knee? And then I watch Wisconsin-Penn State, I'm like, that's just wrestling. Like, people get their knees pulled out. You twist your leg, your knee doesn't get hurt, it's fine. No big deal.
All right. It looks, I don't know. I love Brayton Lee, but when he does it, it looks like, if you watch
that Wisconsin-Penn State match, it happens all the time. It happened like a whole bunch of times.
Okay, I will. I don't like it.
Okay.
I just want to say that. I don't like knee injuries. I don't want to happen.
Hey, listen. I gotta excuse myself for Thursdays. I need to stop drinking. I woke up early and third cup of coffee. I gotta pee again. I gotta stop doing this. I forget that I'm stuck here for 90 minutes. I'll be right back.
Stuck here. All right. Well, Ben Askren urinates. We will proceed. A couple little notes. Little Rock lightweights giving Arizona State some problems.
Yeah.
Arizona State wins 38-9. However, Little Rock takes 33, 41, and 49. Bianchi beats Josh Kramer, who had a really hot start to this season. And Tyler Brennan, who I do not know who that is, beat Josh Maruka. So great job by Little Rock. I know who Tyler Brennan is now.
Yeah, Maruka not having the best season.
No.
And Kramer was ranked the majority of the year. It's kind of sliding now too. But yeah, hats off to Little Rock.
Man,
it's not easy.
It cannot be easy to come out, start a program, and be competitive right away. And they have been, right? They've been competitive teams. So I think that's really exciting.
We talked a little bit about them on Thursday because we were talking about Iowa's facility getting approved and new facilities popping up across the country. And Mike had just visited out there, and their facility is beautiful.
While he's back.
Sorry, guys.
Wow.
I gotta remember, stop hydrating before your freaking podcast.
Yes, podcasting 101. That's how you got to remember to prepare your body, Ben.
Well, not prior to this, my podcasting schedule had not been live, so it's like, hey, if I gotta go take a pee, I go take a pee, and then we edit it out. It's no big deal. And now we're live, and everyone on Facebook knows my urination schedule.
Only a small part of it, because you've been able to make it happen without leaving us before.
No, okay. I did on Thursday. I did on Thursday when you were gone.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Wow.
I had to pee.
Okay.
Real bad.
Well, I can't complain because I wasn't even there, like a coward. All right. There's a lot of different directions we can go. Helen Maroulis is back, and that's great. Oh, okay. What?
Are we going to finish the Wisconsin-Penn State duel?
Okay.
We talked about the Martin match. We talked about the Moran match. Obviously, I figured you guys would rub my face in it. It didn't go so well for Wisconsin.
Oh.
Evan Wick specifically had a really rough match. Sebastian and Brooks was a fun match. He lost 3-2, but it was a good one. And then Hillgravis with injury issues doesn't wrestle. So I just thought we could kind of put a bow on that one. It was Bobby Douglas got honored. That was pretty cool. Seeing him, I haven't seen him in a number of years. That was an awesome little thing. Yeah,
that was cool. Good of them to honor Coach Douglas, true legend of the sport. Chenzo, I think I've said I did not like the matchup for Wick against Chenzo, and I think Chenzo kind of showed why there. He's really good. He's wrestling. Maybe
I was impressed by his ability to keep Evan Wick broken down and ride him. I know he's done some decent riding in the past, but I don't ever think of Chenzo as being a beast on top, and he grinded Evan out on top there. Has Wick struggled underneath? I feel like has Marinelli ridden him? He has. Marinelli's. I think it a little bit. Yeah, not like Friday night, but he has a little bit. Yeah.
I think he situationally struggled with getting away against good guys. But yeah, good win for Penn State. Nick Lee is still on a tear. He majors Tristan Moran 14-1. He pins Mitch McKee immediately. And Ben, can you put out a PSA? All these people are getting pinned while they're getting released. These Penn State guys are tricking America. It's like it's a trap.
I told you it's
How
embarrassing.
does it keep happening?
This is college wrestling. This is embarrassing that this is happening to these people. I mean, I used this trick in high school, for God's sakes. But by the time you're in college, someone releases you, you don't just freaking turn into them.
Yeah.
Simple.
So McKee turns right into a near side cradle, and when Lee locked his hands, it was a wrap. It was really tight. He rolled and got the pinfall against McKee. It was really tough.
Nick Lee is kind of bringing what you've been talking about to fruition. That he's going to be the guy now. He still has to beat. Luke Fletcher, right? But he's kind of been on fire this year. I mean, like really on fire.
It's all the sleep he's been getting. He goes to bed
9.25 hours.
9.25 hours of sleep. Now he's just destroying everyone. I tried that. I still not. It's not helping me. He looks good. I mean, we'll find out this week, right?
Yes.
Because they're going
Are you guys
to
gonna have
wrestle.
someone on the ground there?
No one on the ground, but we'll be over there. I don't know. We'll have plenty of content and stuff around us if you're interested in that match, as we all are. So looking forward to that. Penn State's looking pretty good, no doubt about it.
Yes.
Want to talk about Helen Maroulis is back. She beat Allie Reagan and then pinned Jenna Burkett twice. And I think one of the more interesting parts of this is not just that Helen is back and wrestled her first matches in over a year, but Allie Reagan keeping it to 2-2 is very interesting to me as we look towards trials, right? But also
that was yeah, I agree totally.
But also what's interesting is Helen afterwards is basically like almost like, I don't want to say calls out, because calls out is like probably too strong, but she's like, Allie didn't trust her actual wrestling, so she resorted to just trying to beat me up because, and everyone, basically what's unsaid but saying is like, they're trying to hit my head because I have concussion problems and they're trying to rattle me, right? And she's saying,
do you think that's what she was trying to say? Mind reading can get tricky. How sure are you of this statement?
She basically
100%?
does say it.
I feel very confident in that statement.
She's saying I wrestled Jenna Burkett. She's a brawler. That's what she's going to do. But for Allie to do that surprised me. I think she could trust her wrestling more. And she basically says, when I knew that was her game plan, I was like, she'll never beat me, which I thought was an interesting statement. But she basically said, everyone knows about my injury, so they're going to resort to that. And the thing that they were resorting to is clubbing the crap out of her, which, it was all within the rules and fair. Not saying anything about that. So I think Helen very clearly said that's what she was referring to.
Yeah, I feel like if that, is so like to the forefront of your mind, that maybe you shouldn't be doing this. Like, I mean, wrestling isn't mixed martial arts where you're gonna get punched for sure, but wrestling is it's a combat sport, and if that, if the quality of life in the future is gonna be affected, I have a tough time with that. I really do.
No, well, that's not really what she was saying, though. She wasn't saying.
Well, you just said that's what she was saying.
No. What I'm saying, Helen was saying, and not trying to put words in her mouth, she's like, because I have this history of concussions, they are resorting to this in some attempts to rattle me. But then she goes on to say, listen to the interview, because she goes on to say, I would not be doing this. This is not something where if I get hit in the head, this could be a really big issue, right? She's like, I'm fully healthy. I'm able to do this. It's not a thing where she basically says what you just say, where it's not worth the risk to her to put herself out there in that way, right? And that if she wasn't completely healthy,
how can she be so sure that that's like the fact that it's even in her mind is what I'm saying, because how can she be so sure? Wrestling is a combat contact sport, and if you're going to complain about people hitting you, it's like the one time I actually had a concussion in my life, like real concussion symptoms, I was wrestling Raymond Jordan And it was just like, it almost felt like nothing happened. It was like, we conked heads a little bit, nothing. I kept wrestling. I had 5 minutes practice left. I didn't think anything of it. And then afterwards, I remember I went and talked to a recruiter on the phone, and then I was like, I went and asked Coach Charles, like, hey, did you put me on the phone with somebody? And I'm like, oh, and then he said, yeah. And I'm like, oh, damn, I got a concussion. Like, I'm not remembering. And then, a couple hours later, everything kicked in and it was fine.
Well, I don't know. I would not say that Helen even complained about what Allie did.
No,
she's just saying, listen, maybe we shouldn't talk about it anymore. Listen to what she says, because it's very much like that's her strategy. She's not going to beat me. She's not going to beat me by beating me up. She got to out wrestle me and trust her skills. That's what she was saying.
Yeah, she more got asked about how she thought the match went down, and she pretty much was like, I was surprised she didn't shoot more. Because that's what Allie Reagan's known for. She has those quick, low-ankle shots and everything, and she really didn't fire them off. She tried to just kind of push Helen around the mat with an underhook a lot of the time, and it didn't work out.
Yeah, fair enough.
So, any other thoughts on Pan Am trials there, Bracky? Helen wins, Jakara wins.
Yeah, Jakara looked good down at weight, and then Hildebrandt looked as good as she did at Mateo Pelicone.
Yeah. I feel like that those three will be on the team ultimately. I think they're our best options at those weight. Okay. Next up, why don't we? Where do we want to go next? We could go the wrestling nomad rule. We'll call it that. If they ever change the rule in NCAA wrestling about taking away team points, we got to call it the nomad rule, at least internally within Flow Sports. So Coach Branch goes wild about losing a team point, which he didn't even know he lost at the time, which was funny. I didn't realize he didn't know. But basically, he went and complained about a call to a ref. And you can actually, if you go and watch the full event replay and you scroll between 184 and 197, you can hear basically everything Coach Branch says. And he does not swear. He doesn't, insult the ref. He's fighting for the call that he doesn't get when they call his guy for stalling, and it decided the match at 184 pounds. And the more I thought about it, the more I'm like, yeah, it is really kind of dumb that they're just taking away team points, and they probably should do something. And it is so not uniformly enforced because the team point got taken away for him yelling. Okay, well, yelling? He didn't yell? I mean, where's the line on what yelling is? Why is that? Why can you yell in football and basketball, but you can't yell?
And he followed the procedures. He went to the table after the match, asked the official to come over, and he got a team point taken away.
And he is exactly right that if it was another team, another coach, or even Coach Smith, they do not uniformly take away team points. So they just need to remove that mechanism from the thing. But I know on the official side, they're all freaked out that, hey, if I don't do good or if I don't follow what I think the official evaluators are looking for, I won't get to go to nationals. I won't get as many opportunities. So they're screwed. They're constantly screwed by the rules that the rules makers make. The edge rules is a disaster. The fact that they have to take team points under really vague scenarios is a disaster. And they're kind of caught in the middle trying to interpret what their bosses want, right? So I do sympathize with that a little bit, but they got to change the rule. They can't be taking team points away anymore. And Coach Branch was spot on, and I really appreciated his passion.
I like the way he broke it down. You know, he's talking about Stephen Buchanan. He goes out there. He's a true freshman.
That's Wisconsin, baby.
he beats Dakota Gear, an All-American, biggest win of his career. And he's like, then I look up at the scoreboard and I see we have 2 points, and I have to go send an assistant coach to ask why we only have 2 points. He's like, he's taking points away that Stephen Buchanan earned.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people were like, well, there's got to be repercussions and punishment for these coaches acting out of line. First of all, I don't think Coach Branch did anything out of line.
Yeah.
And secondly, a technical and getting kicked out would absolutely be a deterrent. You think coaches want to get kicked out of a dual meet?
No way.
And we're back to the technical kicking him out because I like that a lot.
Do you know how awesome
it would be? Sick if he got teed up.
We were talking about it because he was animated when he was talking to the official. But I still don't think that should be enough for him to get a team point taken away. But how awesome would it have been when he was done, or at some point in that, the ref was just like,
That would have been sick. I think Coach Branch would even like
that. Would have been awesome.
Coach, I will have to ask him, but I think he would have liked to get teed up.
But instead, the ref just stood there and was like,
yeah. That is one area. There's not much cool about basketball, but that's pretty dang cool at least. Boom, throw a tee up right in their face. That's pretty sweet. So, yeah, that was I appreciate Coach Branch's candor there.
Yeah, I think we, you know what? Sometimes we just get on here and talk about wrestling, but sometimes we solve major world issues. And I think us coming up with the idea that they should actually kick the coach out of the meets and not take team points, I think this is fantastic. And I think, honestly, it would be more of a deterrent because some coach, when they know their team's going to win 30-8, right, or whatever the score is probably way more likely to not bitch if they think they're going to kick it out of the match than if they're just going to lose a team point.
True.
Yeah. I think we're solving real world problems here, guys.
We're solving the real world problems.
It could be really awesome when someone gets ejected and then they're like, all right, I'm going to get my money's worth.
Yes.
And they just go off.
Yeah, it'd be great. It happens in basketball all the time. It's great. College basketball.
Bob Huggins is really good at this.
Yes.
He gets kicked out and then he's like, I'm going to get my money's worth.
Yeah.
So what does he do? What does he do? Throw chairs or something?
No, he doesn't Bobby Knight it, but a lot of times, so he got kicked out against Kansas a couple years ago, and he was just letting the ref have it, and he got teed up, and then he just kept going, and they kicked him out, and then he like stormed towards the ref, and was just.
So you got to get like security guards to escort them or something?
Yeah, and all the other assistant coaches were like grabbing him and trying to hold him back. It was great. It's great.
Oh my god.
Because it was at Kansas, so then Kansas is going crazy, yelling at him. It makes for great TV.
Wow. We need to get this policy instituted. Christian, can you talk to the rules makers?
I'm on it. I got him on line 1.
Okay. Hey, how about Stephen Buchanan though? I'm gonna give him some props. He's not one of my guys. He worked out at a place called Crash Train. I did coach him at the junior duels one year, and I remember thinking like, wow, this kid goes really hard. Like he didn't totally know what he was doing, but he just kept shooting and shooting and shooting and shooting. And I'm like, this dude wrestles really hard. I thought like, he could be a very good college wrestler at some point. I thought it might take a few years, and he's making it happen in year 1.
Yeah, 23-8 on the year. He's been really good.
They Coach Branch, I think he has a pretty good eye for talent. He can find those under the radar guys and make them really tough.
Yeah. Coach Branch actually recruits he gets quite a few Wisconsin guys comparatively to most colleges. He's got about 6 to 8 guys out of Wisconsin in the last handful of years.
That's good. So yeah, he beat Dakota Gear.
Someone asked an interesting question on Facebook. Tom Ruger. What could coaches do like when baseball managers kick dirt on the umps, or they like throw bats like on the field or balls?
I got a great
like
one.
What could they do?
This is too far, but they need to untape the mats. They just start going there and pulling the tape off, and then balling it up and throwing the tape ball at the ref.
I can't remember his name, but I'm pretty sure the Pittsburgh Pirates manager one time took like third base with him.
I like it when they steal the bases.
Yeah.
If you listen, actually, now that I think about it, if you're gonna steal a base or kick dirt, I think untaping the mat one strip is pretty comparable to that.
Yeah. Maybe you take the anklets.
Take the anklets. Yeah, put them in your pocket.
Gosh.
Now I have the anklets. Have fun doing the red and green thing. Yeah. I just made your life harder. Yeah, that would be really good.
Wow, that's funny.
Who would have the most creative meltdown?
Oh man.
Taking tape off the mats.
I think Coach Martin would do something awesome.
Oh yeah,
Coach Martin he won't let us down. He'll do something cool. Put his little his flair on it.
Speaking of that duel, just real quick, nothing really too surprising outside of Buchanan, and then Reese Whitcraft actually beat Montoya Bridges. He seems to be coming on as well.
He's good.
Hey, I don't know about the size of Reese Whitcraft, but is he someone they could get down to 125 pounds? I know John Smith loves to make people cut weight.
He doesn't look huge.
No, I honestly think he probably could. He has kind of a lot of hair. I think if he got rid of some of that flow.
How do you think hair weighs, Christian?
Not enough. I know, not enough. They oh man, when Joey McKenna missed weight at Junior Worlds that year, they tried to cut his hair and he still missed it.
Yeah, that
didn't work.
Did not work. Not enough hair. So okay, that's enough hair talk for one one show. Maybe you could have made 65 if you had cut your fro, Ben. Did you ever think about that?
Yeah, Macy Barber was cutting weight when I was with her last month, and it was coming off slowly, and I threatened like, hey, if this doesn't go out, I'm gonna have to cut your hair off. She's like, there's no way in hell that's happening. Not gonna happen. I'm like, all right, whatever. It was worth the try.
Definitely. So pretty cool thing happened this weekend. Pat Pecora, he's the coach at University of Pittsburgh, Johnstown, D2 Power. He became the NCAA's all-time winningest wrestling coach with 617 wins, which is kind of mind-blowing. He's been the coach 44 years. So I obviously I am not an expert on much at all, but I'm definitely not an expert on D2 wrestling, and I've never had the pleasure of meeting Pat Pecora, but his impact seems tremendous. So John Strittmatter, who was an NCAA champion at UPJ, his brother Jody, they were young guns. Jody's on staff at UPJ. Sent along a note about Coach Pecora that I'm going to read here real briefly. In 44 years of coaching, Coach Pecora is the definition of class and integrity. His influence can be especially felt all over Western and Central PA with his former wrestlers coaching. In fact, many of his former wrestlers have made a big impact on many of the wrestlers from Western PA having so much success in college right now. He coached Carlton Hasselrig to 3 NCAA Division I titles. His former wrestlers idolize him. Jody and I, along with many others, have had him in their weddings. His wrestlers are known for their brotherhood and family culture. He takes great pride in seeing his former wrestlers thrive as husbands and fathers. He is as tough as they come, but a coach who truly loves his wrestlers. This honor couldn't have happened to a better man. So congratulations to Coach Pecora. Amazing career, 617 wins, and UPJ's been a power for years. And obviously that's a large credit to what Coach Pecora's done there. So wanted to pass that note along from John Strittmatter, who is just one of many former athletes of Coach Pecora that had nothing but great things to say about him. So wanted to at least make mention of that today.
Absolutely. Great accomplishment I found there. And Christian, I actually did, kind of that statement reminds me of the impact coaches can have on the lives of athletes. And I got fired up on Saturday morning, and I did a Facebook Live on our Ashland Wrestling Academy page about coaches, and then I did another one yesterday. And so can I give you my 2 points of concern or points of talk and get your feedback on it?
I love it. I listened to the one yesterday. It was great. Please go.
Okay. So, the first one was about, sometimes one of the things I hate, the tactic I hate most is when coaches, especially with high school athletes, because high school kids are especially impressionable, when they use things like, oh, are you not tough enough to do this? Or what the hell were you doing out there? And they essentially put down the kids, right? Because kids at that point in their lives already lack a lot of self-belief, a lot of confidence, and so you're crapping on that, right? My theory is that a coach's job is to get athletes to believe in themselves, because that can not only help them in their wrestling career, but that can carry on. And I know that was what wrestling did for me, is it allowed me to believe in myself, allowed me to understand that I was capable. And that's my job now, is to pass on that to all the athletes that I get to coach. And so when coaches use those putting down of athletes, I just can't get it. And so, it sounds like that's what Coach Pecora did with his athletes. Kind of brings up just sometimes there's a lot of these coaches that are so great, they have so much impact on lives, and they're not. I feel like they're maybe not given enough credit.
I can't remember what spawned this, but I remember getting into it with a bunch of people some years ago about can you develop toughness in kids, and the idea that kids don't want to do wrestling because it's too tough and kids aren't tough anymore. And I just thought it was bullcrap. I think it's garbage. I think you're hitting on exactly what I think, which is your failure at inspiring and motivating kids is leading them to quit, not their softness or whatever, right? And something you hit on yesterday is
So
every generation is different. Right, and there's different challenges, and things are easier. And you were going back to the wheel. Well, we didn't have the wheel, moving stuff around. But it's true. It's true. So every generation has had it easier, right? It's on the coaches to innovate. And no, the way in the 80s and 90s, kids could probably show up and you could run practices the way you ran practice and they wouldn't quit or whatever. But kids, maybe it's a little easier to quit now. So that means your job is harder. Back in the 80s, you didn't have to be as tough a coach in terms of your own self-discipline in the 80s and 90s because no kids would quit. Now you have to look internally and figure out what you can do to impact the kids and make them stay. But you don't want to do that because it's really, really hard to innovate and change and be different. Yeah. It's a lot easier just to blame the athletes. So that always fired me up. I think it's really weak to say, oh, these kids are tough and just give up on any kids that quit. Oh, I know what it was about. It was about the singlet and the compression shorts fights. It is unquestionably it is a barrier to entry into the sport. The singlet is. I don't mind the singlet. I wore a singlet. But I do know that it was an obstacle for kids because I was at a school where I had kids that were good athletes. They're like, I'm not wearing that. I will not do this sport. And I don't think it's because these are tough farm kids. These are not wimps, okay? These are guys that get up at 6 and work and then go to school, right? So don't tell me they're not tough. They just don't want to do it. So let's eliminate an unnecessary barrier. And so when I would say that, they said these kids aren't tough and they wouldn't have made it in the sport anyway. Well, I think that's really close-minded. That's so weak. So weak, and that's your issue. That's not the kids' issue. Yeah. And we should be innovating as a sport and as coaches, and the ones that don't want to do it, they're going to get left further and further behind.
Yeah, and so what I said yesterday was, yes, our kids today different. Well, their experience of growing up is a little bit different, right? Because they have internet, we didn't. But our generation had TV. The generation before that probably didn't, et cetera, all the way back to the wheel. But I think this is kind of across the board, and you can do this in the sport of wrestling. You do any sport. Any sport, any activity. If you have a purpose, if you feel like you're a part of something bigger than yourself and you feel like people actually care about you, you're going to be a pretty happy individual. Mm-hmm. And so as a coach, those are 3 things that you can give one of your athletes. As a boss, that's something you can give your employers. And I feel like that goes all the way back through the course of human time. That if you have those 3 things, it's going to be, it's going to be a very good experience. And so that's kind of what I think about giving my athletes when I'm coaching them.
Amen. Thank you, Ben, for your service.
Amen. All right.
Love it. So I said I was going to talk about this PIAA dual forfeit stuff, and I don't even know, Ben, if you're like familiar with what happened.
I read through some stuff, but I would like to be more informed before I comment.
Okay, allow me to inform. So and Bracky can help fill in the holes as well. But PIAA dual state championship was last weekend. Great tournament. It's awesome. I wish Virginia had dual states. I think it's really cool, but they don't. So what happens is it's a dumb rule. I don't like that, and what I said got conflated as a lot of different things. I don't think it's cool that the Catholic schools won't wrestle girls. Okay, and that's not something that's specific to Pennsylvania. I know it happens in Virginia. I remember there were private schools that wouldn't wrestle girls then. Okay, but and this is not about even that. To me, well, maybe I should set the stage a little better. So what happens is Reynolds is wrestling Notre Dame, okay, and it's a close duel.
Oh wait, let me sorry, Christian. So there's no in some states out east there's a private school division. So in Pennsylvania, I'm assuming there is not.
Correct.
Is that right? Okay.
Correct.
So just everyone together of the same size.
Correct. Now, in Virginia, there is a private school division, but you will still run into, you'll go to the same tournament as a Fork Union or or Military Academy, whatever. So,
got it.
Reynolds is wrestling Notre Dame, and they have a starting 6-pounder, right? That's a boy a man that they use in every single match, except for against Notre Dame, where they put out a girl because they know that the Catholic schools won't wrestle him. So instead of trusting their starter to earn pin points, they put their starter that they trust in all their matches out of the lineup and insert the girl to earn forfeit points. Which I'm not saying it's against the rules. I'm not saying they should change the rules. I'm saying it's lame. I'm saying it's cheesy. I think it's antithetical to the purpose of high school athletics, right? Like, to me, I think you wrestle your team against their team, and you don't look for these little shortcuts to the win.
Was Notre Dame's 106-pounder really good or something? Is that the issue?
I think they were pretty. No, they very well could have won the match. I think it probably would. I think they did have a good 6-pounder. I'm not gonna pretend that would have mattered, but I think the reality is they only used that girl, the female wrestler, against the Catholic school. So they pull out their starter and insert the girl. And I think so basically what you're saying about the girl is the only value you actually bring here is your gender. That's the value you bring to the team right now. Because if you weren't a girl, you wouldn't be in the lineup right now. And we're utilizing your gender so we can get 6 points. I think that's weird. I think that's cheesy. And then it became on Twitter, well, all these schools recruit and these private schools recruit and they do this and they have an antiquated rule. Yeah, their rule's antiquated.
Yeah, I saw that. That was kind of dumb because it seemed like not the point. Like I saw some people saying something like
they're basically saying, well, they started schools. It.
Yeah, the protest against private schools recruiting, which I think that's probably like aside from the issue, which when people don't have good arguments, they generally change what the argument is.
Exactly right. Exactly right.
So. But Christian, I don't know. I don't know. I guess I'm somewhere in the middle of this. I kind of feel like, well, it's not the public schools' fault that Christian schools have stupid rules. I'm sorry, Catholic schools have stupid rules. That's a stupid rule. Sorry, it's 2020, and boys should be able to have the option to wrestle girls. It's just like I feel like it's the same thing with Iran not being able to wrestle Israel. It's effing stupid.
Yep.
And if you're gonna attend that Catholic school, you realize. That's part of the game you're playing is that you signed up for that. So I kind of see it in both directions a little bit.
The thing that makes it even more bizarre, and Ryan Tierney brought this up on Facebook, is that they can wrestle girls in postseason. This is not considered postseason.
Yes.
See, I mean that's like okay. Well, this Catholic school rule is so effing dumb.
Yes.
They can wrestle girls in the postseason, but not in the regular season. Like. Is a girl or is it not a girl? Like it's like, what the heck?
Yeah. So the Catholic schools got to get. There's two worlds here where the Catholic schools can get their stuff together and figure that out because it's really stupid. But don't make that the argument. The thing for me is it's really cheesy that you're using this to exploit some weird thing that I'm sure the coaches, the teams. Don't like that they have to do that. They would wrestle. They do wrestle the girls when they can. And so for the teams, and it's Reynolds and Saucon Valley did the exact same thing. It arguably cost them both the duels. The fact that they did that, right? So I thought it was lame. I think it's to me, it's just like as a competitor for high school sports, I just think it's kind of gross and lame. I just thought it was lame.
Someone said on our Facebook feed, they said, why is wrestling singled out? Can a Catholic school linebacker tackle a female running back? If he can't, feed her the rock.
Feed her the rock. Yeah. Hey, I mean, that's... yeah.
I also I don't like don't say, well, they recruit. If a kid wants to go to the private school instead of the public school, then that's their choice. This is America.
So I see it both. Again, I'm sorry that I'm not being very divisive and picking one side or the other side. I see it both ways there, Brecky. And we don't really have recruiting in Wisconsin. We have something called open enrollment where kids can go. Recruiting is illegal. So if a kid wants to go to another school district because it's best for him, obviously I don't see the issue with that. I think fine, that's good for the kid, right? But at the same time, I understand how the coaches get upset that their kids are leaving. Now, I could see how they get extra upset if someone's actually picking up the phone call and saying, hey, Billy, we'd really love to have you here at Wyoming Sem or whatever other private school there is, right?
Yeah.
I could see how that would be really, really, really upsetting to those coaches because, man, that's tough. You've raised this kid from, say, kindergarten to 8th grade, and now you're going to lose him.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like I get the transfer thing for private schools, but one, don't pretend it doesn't happen at the public schools all the same. Don't pretend it happened at many public schools. It happened in Virginia when I was there, and it happens with the private schools. And also, anyone that goes to a private school lives in a public school district because they are in America. So yes, they are taking from another school district. That is like the existence of private schools. That is what they do, right? So if you think private schools should exist, then they are going to take students from public school districts because that's just how it works. So I don't like that. The transfer thing. Is it ideal that they leave and whatever? No, that's not great either. But don't change the argument. We're not talking about transfers. I'm talking about you're pulling your starter because you're saying, starter, I don't believe you'll earn pinpoints here. That's what you're telling your starter that is working and has earned the spot. But you're saying, no, you don't get to wrestle here. We're doing this gimmick thing. And this is high school sports, too. It's in the NCAA, which, I mean, the idea that this would happen in NCAAs is kind of crazy to even, like, make that comparison. But it's not big business, right? This is about a lesson. I think it's a weird lesson about the things you'll do to win a match. Because it's all about, this is not a statement. This is not a protest. This is an advantage that you're exploiting so you can earn points at the state championship.
Why do the Catholic schools have such stupid rules? That's a dumb rule. So dumb.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a really dumb rule. I mean, and hopefully we're not there yet, but, NCAA status is coming for women's wrestling, which is amazing. And hopefully soon that will lead to entire women's high school wrestling leagues, right? Yeah, that will be better, right? That would be a good thing.
That's what someone brought up on Facebook. Someone was like, well, the PIAA could just add women's wrestling.
Yeah, that would be great. I would have no issue with that.
Women's high school wrestling is sanctioned in 20 states now or something? I mean, the numbers getting up there.
Yeah. It's getting there. Okay, so I wanted to say that because transfers, that's not ideal. But this bothered me. So what?
I think we could have some breaking news here in about an hour and a half or so.
What?
What's going on?
I don't know. Something from USA Wrestling, possibly.
Some USA Wrestling news? Is it going to be about a certain...
I think
Jaden Cox's weight class?
A certain wrestler's weight class.
Oh, my gosh.
Jaden Cox's weight class?
Whoa. Yeah. You got any intel? Are you gonna get scooped by USA Wrestling, Ben?
I can't say.
Ben does have intel. I asked him at Fort Worth. I was like, "Do you have any insight on Jaden's weight?" He just completely changed his face. He got all serious. He goes, "No." I'm like, "Have you talked to him about it?" He's like, "No." I'm like, "Whatever, you're not."
Listen, I am a terrible, terrible secret keeper. But if so I always tell my friends, listen, if you want me to keep something a secret, you need to say, do not tell anyone this, Ben, because otherwise I'm just gonna tell everybody. Doesn't matter, right? He asked me not to tell.
Okay.
So you'll know in 90 minutes.
Just to say odd or even.
I'm not sure.
So that will be huge.
So why are they announcing it today? What's special about today?
Well, he's wrestling this weekend in Cuba. I don't know. I guess they just want it out there. Or
so is it going to be a press conference or what is he going to do here?
I think a release.
I think it's just a press release. Yeah.
A press release. Okay, got it. Because I did see he was wrestling this weekend. So obviously, he's told me that he wasn't going to tell anyone until he stepped on the scale at the Olympic trials, which obviously can't happen now that he's wrestling this weekend.
Yeah, or could it be a test event? Could it be?
He could trick Cuba and say, "I'm not going to step on the scale, but let me wrestle anyways."
Hey, I got a question. All right, well, since you don't have to say what weight, but I am gonna. Do you think there's any way he wrestles a weight this weekend and then ultimately changes it, or do you feel like he has made his decision and he's going that weight?
I don't have a good answer to that. I would hope he's changed. He's picked his weight class. I would hope. I mean, I can't say specifically, but I would hope that he has it picked by now.
Yeah, you would think. Okay.
You would think we're only 2 months. We're less than 2 months away from the Olympic trials.
Oh my gosh! How
March is going to be March is going to be crazy. You got Big Tens, NCAAs, and Olympic trials all within the course of a month. I mean, holy moly!
That's going to be great.
That's going to be so much fun.
Yeah, I can't wait for that. You're going to trials, right?
I'm going to trials. I'm very excited.
You're not entered though, right? You can break that news.
I know. No, I'm not. You know what? I've been wrestling a little bit with Keegan O'Toole to, I can't like fully. I don't want to. I'm not trying to whine on radio or nothing here, right? But the hip is like, once I retired, I actually realized like I gave myself a break. I realized how bad it was, and like there's a lot of positions I can't really wrestle in. And so, but I have been trying to help Keegan and Parterre, get ready to make a junior world team and whatnot here.
Heck yeah.
So Keegan, if I could just go Parterre, I might enter.
Just guts. Hit that high gut. All right.
Absolutely.
Want to go to some questions from friends? Did we hit everything we got? I mean, we talked about Big Tone versus Cassioppi.
We got two more days. We got Wednesday and Thursday.
We're gravy.
We should I think
Oh, I know. You know what we didn't hit, Kyle?
What?
Sometimes you put out a tweet and you're like, it's, you don't think about it, and it blows up, and you're like, wow, people really appreciate a tweet. Sometimes you think, I have a great tweet, and you put it out, and you don't get that response, and you're like, how did this tweet not go over? And so I put out what I thought was just an outstanding tweet this weekend, and it was a picture I stole from you guys, and you stole it from Nelson Brands, and he had his hand around Austin DeSantis and says, brothers. So I screen captured that. And I said, I didn't realize Terry Brands was Austin DeSantis' father. Everything makes so much more sense now. And I thought that was going to be really funny, and no one liked it. So I hate all of you.
You're not happy with 6 retweets and 156 likes?
Well,
no, that's pitiful.
Pitiful. It's a solid tweet. Why didn't it take off?
I don't know why.
Who knows? Maybe his Twitter's algorithm didn't like it.
I think maybe people weren't smart enough to realize that was Nelson Brands, who was Terry Brands' kid. Maybe that was why.
Well, yeah, who knows? But you know what? You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So keep tweeting,
Absolutely.
Ben. How many followers are you up to now?
Quite a few.
Oh, my gosh.
305,000. Approaching 306.
Wow. Rapidly. Okay.
Absolutely.
We should... I don't know if we mentioned it. Michigan State beat Wisconsin.
Yes, they did.
I know you don't want to hear it, Ben, and we'll be Wisconsin haters and everything, but that is a massive win. I think their first one over Wisconsin since 2008.
I mean, it's listen, say what you want. No Moran, no this, but that is a tremendous accomplishment for Michigan State, where they've come in the last couple of years, that they would be competitive. Listen, do you think this is the first time Michigan State has faced a team like Wisconsin and they had some starters out? No, this happens all the time where guys are missing or whatever, and they would lose that match, and now they're winning the matches because they're way, way better than they were. I think it. Yeah. I just, that's another thing. That's why I like the dual rankings, because it's just the result, right? And doesn't matter. Your dual strength is your ability to absorb guys not being in the lineup. That's a part of dual strength. And they were not as strong as Michigan State. And while Wisconsin will outplace them in NCAAs, it doesn't matter. They lost the duel. They were better. Everyone knew that date, and they didn't have it. So congratulations to Coach Chandler.
Really, Wisconsin only had one starter out, which is Tristan Moran, which that does probably, in fact, change the outcome of the duel, Tristan being in versus being out. The other match, Pre Christensen beat Nick May earlier in the year, and then he lost that match, which was upsetting. The other thing is Garrett Motto looked, oh my God, he killed Bo Piper. I mean, he looked so good on Friday night.
He looked awesome. We didn't see that coming at all.
We thought it
might have been Sharon Brock.
Yeah, but I mean, Garrett Motto, it wasn't like I could have seen an opportunity where he maybe sneaks out a close win, but like he kicked Bo Piper's butt. Like it was a whole bunch of takedowns, stalling points, maybe a turn, like everything.
I like Motto. He wrestles so hard.
Yes, he wrestles really hard. So for him to lose to Jake Tucker, I mean, Tucker's good, but he's not great, right?
Yeah, I think he might have been able to mount a comeback. He got headlocked. That headlock really put him behind the 8 ball.
Yeah, and that's kind of something that we've seen. Motto has found himself giving up big points at times. And so, if Motto wants to be in the match, one of the things he's got to do is, keep it close, or even better if he gets the first takedown, but otherwise keep it close early or get the first takedown. Then it's kind of a downhill battle for him.
Man, who put this Tariq Wilson quote in
I
here?
did.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah,
I'm going to read it. Tariq Wilson said this after the UNC win. Right now, it doesn't even feel like it's a rivalry. It's just them coming down here trying to prove that they have caught up or that they have some firepower. I don't feel like it's a rivalry at all. Holy smokes. Tell us how you really feel, Tariq.
I think NC State's won 7 in a row.
Jeez.
Wow. But obviously when Coleman got there, UNC was not in a great place.
Well, yeah. That's UNC will get over the hump there at some point, you have to figure. And NC State has Tech this weekend, right?
Yeah.
So they
another big one. I believe it's at Reynolds again.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. Yeah, the ACC is tough this year, man. They ain't playing.
No games. And then Duke will be better next year. Okay, let's get to some questions. Does Ben Askren still think RBY can't win NCAAs? Asks Dave.
I'm going to go with yes, he's not going to win NCAAs.
Can't. You think he can't?
I think he cannot win NCAAs this year.
Next
year, we'll give him a chance next year.
Rassel fan, if he has less of a chance next year, by the way. If Lee Majors Pletcher, will you party on Nomad?
True.
Or feel guilty for doubting Lee recently? I haven't doubted Lee. I have my because I've continued to pick him, but my respect and fear for what Luke Pletcher has become is what has.
I feel like Christian Piles is the biggest Nick Lee fan around.
Exactly.
What is this guy talking about?
I'm gonna have.
What is he talking about?
I don't know, Rassel fan. Well, I've been saying, okay, yeah, Luke Pletcher can definitely beat Nick Lee. Well, I don't know. Maybe they feel I've wavered a little bit, but no, I'm still squarely in the Nick Lee camp. Okay. An everyday toaster says, wants Ben Askren to give your wrestling dad bod Hall of Fame. You, Ben, Daniel Cormier, Mike Basile, but I feel like this is more your expertise.
Well, I should have done my research. I should come back tomorrow. Cormier is obviously in there because obviously the way he looks.
You can't be a heavyweight. You've got to be below.
You cannot be right. You cannot be a heavyweight. Throw me some good names out here, guys.
What's the name of the Becca kid from last year?
Ryan Anderson.
Ryan Anderson. Man,
his dad bought at age 17.
Yeah, that's amazing. Dad bod, no kids. That's pretty tough to do.
He was a dad bod at 145.
Yeah.
152, whatever he was at.
I know. He would like miss weight at 62, go up to 52, win 26. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty rare to have a dad bod and be successful at the sport of Division I wrestling. So maybe you'd have to go international or someone who kind of was like. I'm sure there's a few Russians that were like overweight.
Kurban Aliyev has an amazing dad bod.
Right? I mean, there's got to be some of those guys.
Yes.
They go a little lighter on the steroids. They start, they grow a little older. Got some good skills though still.
They get off the ladder, so they're out of the Gregory Rodchenkov.
I'm not saying Seth Gross has a dad bod, but he doesn't look like all the other 133 pounders.
He does not look very intimidating. Like if you saw Sean Charles, she was like, if I saw that dude, I wouldn't even warm up.
That's a good line.
If you saw Seth Gross around, you'd be like, I don't even got to warm up for this dude.
I ain't worried about that. And you got all kinds of problems. Speaking of Seth, Joseph Floyd wants to know, is Seth Gross getting too comfortable with letting guys in on his legs? I'll throw this to Ben.
That's where he wants guys.
Well,
I mean, genuinely, he's
until they take him down. There does become a line where
I'm gonna say no. That's just kind of he's got a level of comfort there that very few people do. Until I will not say until he takes me out, until he loses, which the DeSanto match I think was a great example of that, and he changed for the next time.
Yes. How many slaps to a chair would it take for Nomad to equal the amount of destruction and decimation that Hidley provided to that poor little chair? I'll set the line at 6.5 Nomad slaps. Trent Hidley, did you see this video, Ben?
I have not. I really. I would love to see it.
Oh my gosh! So it
should become some kind. Because it should become some type of challenge where it's like the Trent Hidley chair challenge.
Trent Hidley stays fired up. And so he basically, the heavyweight, Deontay Wilson, sealed it for NC State. Pat and Trent hug. He's like screaming. Then he just straight up punches this office chair and blows the back off. Right? Just like completely destroys it. It's pretty epic. I think.
I want to see this video so
I'm
bad.
going to find it.
I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try it later today.
You're just gonna try. You're just gonna end up like doing a gut wrench squeeze and just squeezing the chair, Ben.
Like so he punches the chair and the chair explodes.
The back of the chair.
Yeah, the back of the chair flew off.
It just like pops off. It's and then his I think Trent's mother replied to a tweet I sent and was like, "Yeah, that's not."
I saw that.
That's not the first chair he's destroyed or whatever. Which I can imagine Trent being a pretty rambunctious young guy, bull in a china shop. Okay, this may be our last question. Could Shane Griffith, 165, Jordan Cutler, 174, and Chaz Tucker, 133, be number one seeds at NCAAs? It would mean Marinelli beat Chenzo, Hall beat Kemmer at Big Ten. Seems wrong. The undefeated record's best competition. Thoughts?
Chaz Tucker, I mean, now you're looking at all these guys absorbing multiple losses at 133. Or, you know, if so, obviously this is considering Seth Gross losing, is what I'm assuming the question is. They're all of multiple losses. You got to consider Chaz Tucker for number one if he's undefeated, don't you? Are you just saying that's insane?
Well, I think from a rankings perspective, it's insane. But from a seeding perspective, which is automated, partially computer-generated situation, I could totally see them screwing that up and putting him number one without beating any of the top contenders. It could happen. Cutler is tough because he lost to Mark Hall. Griffith, though, I don't see Cutler as a viable option there, even if Hall beats Kemmer.
I don't think so.
But Griffith at 65, I mean, all he's done is beat everyone in front of him. Wrestled. Stanford has a decently tough schedule. Now they go to the Scuffle, and they go to a year where the Scuffle's more down. But still, he's done it. There's a scenario where that happens. I think in all those instances, if any of those guys were the one seed, I would disagree with it because I don't think they'd beaten the guys. It's not how I would seed it. If the idea is seeding it based on what the guy's proven, I don't think they should be there.
But considering the circumstances, you could see how that seed ends up that way.
100%. It's definitely an option. But we have no option now. We have to go. We got to get the heck out of here. It's 9:47.
Absolutely.
We got some OT going. So feel free to play us out. Thank you so much for listening.
I'm watching this Hydley chair video. It is totally fantastic.
I mean, does he not just destroy that chair?
Also, Trent, he had the epic hoagie eating celebration.
Yes.
His celebration now is raising the roof.
No way.
Yeah, it just goes like that.
Yeah. You guys need to bring the Flow celebration ranking back.
We do.
Okay, yeah, you're right, Ben. We'll get on that. Okay, cool. Hey, stay tuned. Raise the roof. We got an announcement coming from USA Wrestling about maybe Jaden Cox's weight.
11 a.m.
11 a.m. 11 a.m. Central. Also, that's it. Thanks so much. Thanks to Trent Hidley for landing a significant strike against the office chair. That was very significant. Thanks. We'll see you tomorrow. Happy Tuesday.
Peace. See ya.